Hello again. I just tried to do a live video simultaneously on Facebook and YouTube and it didn't go very well. So this is take two. Okay. Who's that joining? Give me a hello or an emoji or something so I know you're here. I'm going to be talking about what's going on in the world at the moment in terms of energy, what's going on energetically, and some of the symptoms that people are feeling, and how we can best navigate these times. So, hello, Yana. How are you? Who else is here? Give me an emoji. Give me a love heart. Say hello. Hello, Sandy. So, yeah, I'll just dive straight in. 2020, huh? There is so much going on, and it is a very interesting time to be alive. The Chinese have a curse. If they say to you, may you live in interesting times, it's not a blessing. And we definitely live in interesting times, don't we? You may be feeling a ringing in your ears that you might mistake for tinnitus, and it might scare you. You might be getting a lot of headaches. You might be getting aches and pains in your body and different sensations, physical, energetic, different emotional and deeper feeling states coming up for you. Unwanted thoughts. Your mind might be, extra active, and it might be difficult to control it. There's so much going on, and humanity, as human beings, we're being kind of stretched, or at least many people are feeling that sense of being stretched. And it's not easy. So I wanted to come on. I'm doing less and less I'm not into social media and online work so much anymore, but I am running my online community, and most of my online time goes there. But I wanted to come on and do this because I see what's going on, and maybe I can help a few people. If you're just joining, give me a love heart or leave a comment, say hello, let me know you're here. And if you've got any questions at any point, interrupt me and ask the question. And if I can answer it, then I will. Glad to hear it, Yana. So at the end of 2019, at the end of last year and the beginning of this year, there was a big, big shift. And there's a part of me that wants to say that it was a cosmological shift or a shift of the Earth's energy. But the truth is that everything is connected. All really is one. And so the shift that took place everywhere simultaneously. It took place within us as individuals, and it took place above us in the cosmos, and it took place below us in the earth. And really what this shift is all about is us having an opportunity to align ourselves with above and below. And the degree or the extent to which you are out of alignment is the degree or the extent to which it'll be very challenging. And if you are experiencing any of the symptoms that I mentioned earlier, or if you're just having a really hard time, then what I strongly suggest for you to do is to 100% prioritize your personal growth, your personal development, your healing, and or your spiritual path, and not or, and your spiritual path, your spiritual life, spiritual reality. Hello, Stacy. Hello, Katya. Hello, Nina. Because the fundamental truth of reality is that all is spiritual, and from the spiritual, from spirit emerges matter. And human beings have got it all backwards for the last couple of thousand years. We've been living as if it's the other way around. We've been living as if spirit is a kind of a luxury item, and everything is material. And okay, we've managed to do that in terms of society for quite a long time, but it isn't going very well, is it? So we have to change things up a little bit. Hello, Mia. It's not easy, it's not easy, particularly because everything that we've been taught, everything that we've been told, every way in which we've been conditioned and educated is turning out to be not so trustworthy. It's turning out to be not such a good education. And so the work that we are doing on ourselves is challenging. It's challenging. And you need help. And I say this as someone who historically has found it very difficult to ask for help and has generally tended to try to do things on my own. It's possible, but it's very hard and it takes much longer. So if you want to make things easy for yourself, then find someone or some group of people that are on a similar trajectory, on a similar path, someone that can help you, and commit yourself to that work. Because right now, there is nothing more important, and there is nothing that will improve your life and improve your experience of life as much as that deep inner work. So, and hey, Xenia, hello. Most of us, most people, and I'm sure most of you watching, this is true too, will have sort of semi-prioritized the inner work, and a lot of people kind of pay lip service to it. It's like, yeah, I'm spiritual, but where do you spend most of your time? Where does most of your energy, where does most of your attention, where does most of your time get spent? Is it really in a spiritual practice or a personal development healing path? Or is it in a job that is really just about money and economics? Hello, Mary Lou. Sandy says, I'm feeling focused 1 hour, then the next aligned. So many external teachers want their growth to occur through us, read courses, etc. And that isn't working any longer. Thanks for this, Ben. I have a group of people, thankfully. Yeah, great. That's really important. And yeah, most teachers are, there are very few teachers and there are very few healers that are really doing the work with the right intentions, with the right energy, with the right approach, because of what I said just a moment ago. Most of them are just like most of you, divided, split. Want to be spiritual. Consciously, I want to be spiritual, but unconsciously, I'm driven by fear and greed and need for fame and security and adulation and validation and love and acceptance. There are so many hidden, subtle, unconscious motivations that we as human beings don't even know we are driven by. And to find a teacher or a healer or somebody that is awake to those dangers and absolutely prioritizes their own individual path, spiritual path, above and beyond all of those usual societal pressures, is very, very, very rare. And the vast majority will not be found on Facebook, will not be found on YouTube, will not be found with a website, because that's how it goes. So yeah, that's right, Sandy. And I'm happy to hear somebody awake to that sort of danger, because it's very tricky. A lot of these teachers and a lot of these healers are very, on the surface, they seem to be very legit. They seem to be very, authentic and heart-centered and so on. But there's a lot of ego disguised. And so you have to be a little bit careful. The most important thing on this path is integrity of values, and that's equally true for a seeker and for a teacher. And of course, we're all seekers and we're all teachers. The degree to which you are firmly anchored and grounded in your values, in your integrity, is the degree to which you will progress on this path. And oops. And yeah, the world is set up, society is set up to distract us and to pull us off the path, to make us compromise on our values. And so it's very important. The company that you keep is extremely important, and especially if you're going to work with somebody or to engage with groups of people, then it's a sticky, tricky arena. So be aware of that. The vast majority of teachers that are putting themselves out there as guides, spiritual guides, and so on, are at best not coming from the right place. Let's just put it like that. Mia says, hello, Ben. So true about the intense time, especially with a growing baby inside of you. Congratulations. Congratulations. Yeah. Make sure that you're talking to that baby. Make sure that your partner is talking to that baby, singing to the baby. Communicate telepathically with that baby, because you can. Baby is inside you as part of your body. Get very clear in yourself what kind of relationship you want to have with that baby. What do you want the birth to be like? I don't know how far along you are. Perhaps you could let me know in the comments. Now is the time to really use the time before the baby arrives to clean internally, do as much healing work as you can, do as much personal development work as you can, so that you are as prepared as you possibly can be for that child that will be completely dependent upon you for a long time. Such a blessing to be a parent, such a beautiful blessing. I'm sure you'll be a great mom. Any more questions? Any more questions? I was mentioning the symptoms of these energies that are coming through. The ringing in the ears is something that I want to talk about. If anybody is experiencing this ringing sensation in the ears that is often confused for tinnitus, then say so in a comment. Due in March, home birth, beautiful, beautiful. I'm happy to hear that. The number one challenge that you will be facing is fear. What is happening is that these energies are squeezing us like a sponge to squeeze out the whatever unintegrated aspects we have left that need to be integrated. So those people, and there are many of them, that want to continue sort of like business as usual, are going to increasingly find that, I suspect, unbelievably difficult. And the extent, as I said earlier, the extent to which you prioritize or have prioritized your personal development, your healing, and your spiritual growth is the extent to which it'll be easy, effortless, and even joyful to navigate these times. But for almost everybody, stuff is coming up because, let's face it, we have thousands of years of ancestral trauma and societal madness that we're dealing with. So, yeah, as I said, ringing in the ears, headaches, migraines, uncomfortable energies and sensations in the body, aches, pains, negative thinking, and so on. These are the challenges that are coming up for a lot of people. And the first thing, the most important thing, is to get really clear on your values. Really clear. I've shared many times in the past, you can take a piece of paper, draw a line down the middle. In one column, you write the top 10 time expenditures that you have every day. So, for example, number one for many people will be job. A lot of people spend 8 hours a day in an office or at a job. And so there are very few things that you do every day for 8 hours. So the top of the list might be job. Perhaps number two on the list will be sleep. Maybe you sleep 6, 7, 8 hours a day. So number two is sleep. Maybe you cook for your family. And so maybe somewhere on the list will be cooking. You spend a couple of hours cooking. You make a list in the left-hand column of the ways in which you spend most of your time. And on the right-hand column, you write your values. What is valuable to you? What do you value most of all in the whole world? It might be your spirituality, spiritual practice. It might be relationship with family. It might be nature. It might be having fun. It might be, whatever it is, you put that in the right-hand column. And then you see very clearly, if you've been honest with yourself, how do my values and the ways in which I spend my time, how do these two things add up? Do they add up? A lot of people, when they do this exercise, find that, well, actually, I don't spend any time on the things that I value. I spend all my time doing those other things, working, doing things for other people, and so on. When you get super clear on what your values are, and you begin to prioritize your time, in other words, you begin to actually spend your life and your attention and your time on those things that are meaningful to you, then your life changes. And it can take a lot of courage to do that. For example, if job is the top of the list in the left-hand column, and it's not a job that is meaningful to you, then it can take a lot of courage to figure out ways in which to tackle that incongruency, right? But you got to have courage. Without courage, what are you doing? Hi, Gigi. Okay, so Mia's getting the ringing. Nani is getting the ringing. She thought it was from the Wi-Fi. Sandy's getting the ringing. Hey, Rosanna. Hello. Hello, Karen. Hello, Susan. Okay, so the ringing is the ringing in the ears is a, sign that you are sensitive to these energies in a very powerful and a very positive way. If you pay attention to the ringing, what you'll notice is that it's a sound that is not caused by anything external. And the shift in energy that I mentioned that has been happening since, especially intensely since late 2019 through to early 2020, is really about the realignment of energies. And I'm going to talk about it in terms of the Earth, the planet, the realignment of the Earth's Kundalini energy, basically, from the solar plexus to the heart. And you may be familiar with the prophecy of the rainbow serpent, and you may have heard about what happened on the 12th, was it the 12th of January this year, 2020. There was a big shift in energy, earth energy, from the solar plexus of the earth, which is at Uluru in Australia. And that energy shifted. It's like the assemblage point of the earth shifted from the solar plexus to the heart chakra. The heart chakra of the earth is in Glastonbury, England. And the Sanskrit word for the heart chakra is anahata. Anahata. The word anahata means unstruck sound. And what you're hearing when you're hearing this very high-pitched ringing sound is an unstruck sound. It's an internal sound. It's not caused by anything external. It is the sound of the heart. It's also known as the music of the spheres. And it's a blessing. It's a real blessing. My experience of that is that in the beginning, I was scared. Scared is not quite the right word. It made me feel anxious. It made me feel out of control because I was hearing a sound in my head that I couldn't turn off. I couldn't turn it on. It was just there, and it kind of freaked me out. So basically my message is don't worry about that because it's good. It's something very good. It's a sign for you that on this path that you're on, you're making progress and you're becoming more finely tuned and your heart is coming online. So that's wonderful, you know. So don't be scared of it. And what you can do with that sound is that you can meditate on it. You can actually lie down or sit down, get comfortable, close your eyes, breathe deeply, and go deeper into that sound. Instead of running away from it out of fear, anxiety, and so on, instead of feeling like you're out of control and you want to control it, surrender. Surrender, which is really what the heart opening is all about. Surrender. The opposite of control, which is what the brain does. The head is all about control. And so now we come to the headaches, right? Yeah, the sound of the heart, exactly. But not just the heart, not just this heart, the heart. The heart of the cosmos, the heart of the being, the heart of the earth. This alignment is what is happening. And we are in the process of aligning ourselves as individuals and hopefully one day as a species with this beautiful sound and this beautiful energy and this beautiful possibility. This alignment is what is happening. And, you know, whether you like it or not, whether you're on board or not, it's happening. The more on board you are, the easier it will be. So headaches. the system that we live in is all about control, right? We have a financial system that enables a few people to control the economics of the whole world. We live in a time in which human beings are up to all kinds of crazy mischief in terms of AI, in terms of trying to control the weather, in terms of trying to control disease and sickness, even trying to control death. And the last 2,000 years have really been defined by control. And as I said, control is the head. It is the masculine, but it's not the healthy masculine. It's the corrupt, immature masculine. And so 99% of the time, when you are experiencing these headaches, what's happening really is that there is an aspect of you, and it's probably mental, that is struggling to maintain an illusion of control. And that control might be over other people, it might be over your circumstances, it might be over your finances, it might be over your health, it might be over your body. For example, many people have physical, biological body hang-ups. You know, I used to, when I was a little boy, I was bullied relentlessly because I had funny teeth, and people told me I looked very ugly. Maybe I did, I don't know. But as a result of that, when I was sort of 16, 17, 18, I had a receding jaw. It was, you know, set back. And so I wanted it to be, so I pushed my jaw forwards. I used to walk around. Yeah, I don't know if you can see what I'm doing. I would push my lower jaw forwards all the time, every waking moment. I would have my lower jaw thrust forwards because I thought it would make me less ugly, basically. Um, Other people suck in their bellies. Some people push out their chests. You know, some people try not to smile because they don't like their teeth or they don't like their smile. There's so many ways in which we try to. This is just physically I'm talking about. There are a myriad of ways in which, as human beings, we have this highly dysfunctional pattern of mentally thinking, trying to exert control over ourselves and over the world around us. And here's the thing that you need to understand: there is no control. You can't control your heart, you can't control your lungs, you can't control your brain, you can't control the neurons that fire, you can't control your hormonal secretions, you can't control your digestion, you can't control your blood circulation. You know, that's your body. So if you can't control those things, how on earth are we supposed to be in control of anything else that's even further away from us? So surrender. The key is to surrender. And if you are experiencing these headaches, then my advice, hello, Natalia. Hey, Janelle. My advice is to spend some time and figure out what it is that you consciously or perhaps subconsciously desire to control. Figure out what it is that you find difficult letting go of control over. And that's challenging. It's very challenging because a lot of this stuff will be unconscious. You know, it'll be coming from the deep subconscious, might be informed by trauma, particularly in childhood, might be informed by unconscious beliefs and patterning, family patterning, and so on. So this is very challenging stuff. And but basically, the headaches, 99% of the time, it's just about control. Any other questions? Any other questions? If you're just joining, talking about the very intense energies, the intense experience that most people are having these days, and how we can navigate it. Rachel says that's hard. And I'm assuming you're talking about the control thing. Yeah, it is very hard. As I told you, straight up, it's hard. And this is why on this path, you need somebody that can help you, you know. You don't need it. You can do it yourself. Like I said earlier, I did it mostly myself. And it was very hard, very challenging, because you can't see what you can't see. How can you make conscious what you're unconscious of, right? We need reflection. This is why community is so important. And without that reflection, without like-minded people who are equally committed to us, to the same path, giving us that reflection, giving us that feedback, it's very difficult. As soon as you're in a group of people that are doing the work together, and let's face it, that is very rare to find, especially to find a group of people that are doing it in the right way. As soon as you find that group, your development is accelerated massively, massively. And that's the intention, that's the purpose behind my online community. But as I said earlier, it's really very difficult to find people, teachers, guides, spiritual teachers, healers, and so on, whose heart is genuinely in the right place, because very few people have made that, have detached themselves from the system. And anybody that is still anchored in the system is going to be run by it. Mia says it's opening wide and aligning right now. Thanks. Good. I'm glad to hear that. Question about what to do or how to take care of yourself. If you're so sensitive, for instance, while doing the dishes, I started to smell burning stuff, and I got a feeling that something was going on a wart level, on some level. A few hours later, I found out online that Notre Dame was burning. How to take care of yourself if you're so sensitive? Right. Okay. That's a really good question that I know a lot of people are going to resonate with. How to take care of yourself is take care of yourself. Prioritize yourself. Put yourself in first place. Understand that your attention has been pulled out in this direction, in that direction, in every direction possible. Up, down, left, right, forwards, back, diagonally, in so many different ways. And you have been programmed and conditioned and trained since birth to not pay attention to yourself, and instead to pay attention to so many external avenues. And this pattern that is known as people-pleasing or peacekeeping or martyrdom is unbelievably common throughout humanity, and slightly more so in women. So the first thing is to understand that you are responsible only for yourself. You're not responsible for anybody else. When it comes to children, that's a little bit of a kind of a gray area. But if you decide, if you have a child and if you decide to be responsible for them, that's a decision. That's a decision that you make. And Mia, who's asking this question, is about to become a parent. I think it's your first child, right? Not sure about that, actually. Is it your first child? And what a child needs to see more than anything is the parent that puts the parent in the first place, the parent who prioritizes their own well-being first and foremost, above and beyond all else. And that is what we should do as human beings. We shouldn't be worried about what's happening on the other side of the planet. You know, there's too much to think about. There's too much to worry about. The environment, the fires in Australia, the Notre Dame burning down, Trump, Epstein, this, that. Think about it. Our brains are not capable of dealing, and not just our brains, our minds and our emotional bodies are not capable of holding space, let's say, for so many different forms of suffering. It's not your responsibility. And even if it was, which it isn't, there's nothing you can do about those things. So let it go. Stop watching the news. Decide now, no more news. At least try it for 40 days or a week or even 3 days. Because even after 3 days, you'll see the extent of your fear-based addiction to the mainstream media. And these are the things that we need to root out, because these are the things that stand in between us and our potential. So that sensitivity, how to navigate that sensitivity if you have it, which a lot of people do, especially people that are on a healing path or a spiritual path, the first thing is to put yourself absolutely number one position. And what that looks like in practical terms is that, especially in the beginning, is that when you, in the beginning, I mean, when you first start doing this consciously, putting yourself first, what that looks like is that most of the time when people ask you for something, the answer will be no. Because you will go through a phase of prioritizing your health, prioritizing your mental health, prioritizing your emotional well-being, prioritizing your physical and energetic well-being. And that phase might last for quite a long time because you've spent years neglecting yourself. Probably decades neglecting yourself and your relationship with yourself. That sensitivity that you describe is an absolute gift. It's an unbelievable gift when it's integrated through this relationship with oneself. We have to fall in love with ourselves. And that sensitivity is a remarkable blessing on that path of healing, spiritual path, whatever you want to call it, the path of falling in love with oneself. But until you fall in love with yourself, the sensitivity can seem like a bit of a curse because you're hypersensitive, extra sensitive to all this external noise. Hello, Brenda. It's a pleasure, Des. Hello, Aurelia, Jill, hello. Hello, Susan. Is this about stepping into a new feminine consciousness versus control? Amanda says. That's a really interesting question. No. Yes and no. It's not about stepping into a new feminine consciousness against control. No, it's not about stepping into anything against anything else. And this us versus them, this against, this versus idea is one of the main things that we have to let go of. There is a tendency in us as human beings, and it's been cultivated for a few thousand years now. It's been fed. There is a tendency in us to separate and to go against. And the time that we're in now is the time to stop doing that and to integrate and to love and to accept and to surrender and to celebrate and to just let go of this idea of what's bad and what's wrong, and instead to focus on cultivating what's good and what's right. And it's not about masculine and feminine. It's about the space in between the two. It's about bringing unity to the masculine and the feminine. And this is why I've been so vocally what's the word? so loud in my sort of abhorrence, really, of this movement against the masculine, because we've been in a movement against the feminine for a long time, and the solution is not a movement against the masculine. The solution is the space between the masculine and the feminine. And this path really is about doing whatever is necessary for one's own internal masculine and one's own internal feminine to come back together, to reunite, to fall in love, and to conceive a most beautiful baby. And that baby is you. And the path that humanity, the trajectory that humanity is on now is that path. And it's as simple as that, really. If we can just withdraw our attention from all of these external illusions and focus on ourselves, prioritize ourselves, and go through the practices and the processes that we need to go through, each of us individually, to bring internal harmony between the masculine and the feminine, fall in love with ourselves, then if enough of us can do that, then we will see a radical shift from the hell that we've been creating on earth towards the possibility of a real heaven. But regardless of what may or may not happen externally, it doesn't matter, because that process, that practice, brings about an internal state of heaven. And, you know, that's what you want. That's what we all want. Hello, Mary Lynn. So, you know, the question that Amanda asked, is this about stepping into a new feminine consciousness versus control? Yeah, in a way it is, because it's about letting go of control and allowing the feminine to rise. But that's true for some people, but it's not true for other people. So let's just say that universally what it's about integrity between masculine and feminine. Gigi says, I can feel the energies, but I practice meditation daily to help me generate the inner stillness that will support the refinement process of my nervous system of the absolute being, absolute consciousness, becoming a living reality. You know, there's meditation and there's meditation. And I meditated for many years and generated inner stillness and achieved enlightenment states, breathless states, and many different spiritual awakening of Kundalini and all kinds of things. And then I realized how deeply traumatized I was. And then I went through years of depression and addiction to porn, addiction to video games, social anxiety. So meditation is a kind of a, it's 11:11 here, just wanted to share that with you. Meditation is a kind of a, it's one of these things, it's a bit like the word love, you know. Two people can say the word love and they can be talking about two completely different things. And some meditation, of course, meditation is, you know, extraordinary and beautiful. And some meditation is distracting and slows down your progress. Because you see, what's of the utmost importance in order to activate the heart, what is of the utmost importance is first, before the heart can be activated, the first chakra, the second chakra, and the third chakra have to be activated and healed. If they're not, as was my case, and you're meditating, then what happens is you bypass. You bypass your trauma, you bypass your patterns, you bypass your misidentifications, you bypass your fear-based false associations, you bypass the stuff that you need to be working on. So That's what I have to say about meditation. Hello, Tony Kostanchek. Hello, Laurie. Hello, Caitlin. Hello, Anna. Thank you all for being interested in yourselves and in this path. And if you have any questions, then now's the time to ask them. I'll say that I have an online community, and unfortunately, I'm charging money for people to join it because that's how I earn my living at the moment. I'm very much looking forward to the day when things will be different and it'll be donation based only. But at the moment, it's money based. And if you are interested in working with a like-minded group of people under my guidance, doing the work day in, day out, week by week, month by month, I pretty much guarantee that within 2 years, you'll be in a state of an awareness state that is unrecognizable from where you're at now. I won't say enlightened because that would be, wrong of me. But thank you. My pleasure. Thank you for listening. Any more questions, or shall we wrap it up? Okay, wrapping it up. I'm not quite sure what the lag is on questions, but I'm going to wrap it up anyway. So thank you for listening. Thank you for watching, and be well. Lots of love.